Hello, dear perceptive souls. This is Bevan Neiman, your intuitive coach and mentor. I work with empaths, light workers, and conscious leaders, and welcome to your intuitive business development reading. And the topic that I want to speak about today, and I've pulled some cards to help us get some clarity here, is what happens when you've been doing something that just lights you up? It just feeds and nourishes your soul. Maybe you sort of fell into that, you kind of found it by accident, and then you start to realize over a period of time, you're like, maybe this is what I want to do for my career. Maybe this is how I actually want to spend my days, my time, do my work, so to speak. And that can be a really exciting time when you realize it's something that's sort of been a hobby, or you've done it as a volunteer, just from the goodness of your heart, now becomes the centerpiece of what you're giving in the world. And there can be a lot of questions that arise during that time, and a lot of uncertainty, and then also a lot of excitement. So this happened for me about 7 years ago when I discovered that I was an intuitive empath. And of course, I'd always been an empath. I'd been tuned in since I was a child. I just didn't really know that there was a name for it. I didn't know that there was something called highly sensitive person, which is a little different, but I am both of those things. And I didn't really explore this really intuitive side of myself. And what I began to do is I just wanted to meet other people like me. And so I created a meetup group and invited people into my home and taught a class called Sensitivity 101. And I was learning myself, and also, opening myself up to meeting other people like me and to teaching. And I did that for a number of years. I did a monthly workshop. And at some point, something changed and flipped inside of me. So I was a landscape designer, which was a very cool career at the time. But the landscape industry, ironically, is very stressful. It's very high paced. There's a lot at stake, financially and otherwise. And I realized at some point that my love for doing this work, for connecting, for teaching, for coaching, for being there for other people, was starting to overtake my love for doing landscaping. And when I would go to my day job, I would be like, oh, I really would rather be developing curriculum. I'd really rather be doing workshops. Uh, Man, I really want to go to this coaching foundations class, and it started to sort of overtake me. And maybe if you're out there, you can start to understand what I'm talking about. You may have an online community, or you feel really drawn to healing work, or maybe doing astrology readings for your friends and your family. And then at some point, the momentum kicks in and you're like, I just wonder if this is something that I could do for a living. And when that happens, it's both a beautiful thing, it's a scary thing. You might wonder, that kind of imposter syndrome kicks in. You might wonder, like, do I know enough to teach others, to help other people heal, to advise other people in this work? And that's normal. It's normal, and it doesn't go away. Although it gets less and less as time goes on and you gain more and more confidence. The other piece is, wondering if whether bringing in sort of the financial piece and doing this for a living and doing this to actually support yourself is going to ruin how you feel, the passion that you feel about doing whatever it is that you're doing. You're like, well, this is my soul calling, and maybe I should just be doing it and just giving. And, will that kind of screw things up a little bit? Will it bring in all of this nastiness if I actually do this and I ask people to reciprocate? So all of these things are normal. I've been through all of those things, and every single spiritual, holistic wellness practitioner, entrepreneur has been through those things as well. Whether you're a writer, coach, or a teacher, whatever that is for you. And so I wanted to kind of show you some of these cards because I think they illustrate this journey beautifully. And there is a message of hope at the end of this. There's a message of affirmation for you that I'm really excited to bring forward. So here you are, right? You're this beautiful being that has all this heart activation. It's just flowing out of you. And yet, here you are in your current existence. Maybe you're working the corporate job. Maybe you're doing something that, you're fairly good at, but you don't love it, right? You know that you don't love it. You go every day and you're like, it's getting harder and harder for me to actually do this work. And something inside of you is starting to emerge. It's like pulling up from this sacral chakra, this creativity, this flow, sort of this feminine energy coming forward. So, and you're just standing and going, okay, I'm just holding this space for this birthing of a new part of myself, and there's a lot of activation up here at the third eye and the crown, but not much at the throat, right? It's like, okay, I feel it in my heart, but I'm not really ready to speak this out. How this showed up for me is that when I was teaching this group for highly sensitive people and empaths, I didn't tell anyone at work what I was doing because I was afraid like they would think I was weird or strange, or like they would get upset and they would think, oh, she's trying to do this side hustle and maybe I would lose my job. I didn't really want to be seen for who I really am. And this is normal in the beginning that we kind of do this on the sly, right? It's like I have this whole other life that nobody knows about. But there's this thing inside of me that just won't stop being birthed. It wants to come out. It wants to be expressed. All this energy is there. And what the hell do I do with that, right? And so for a while, you might feel like this. You might feel like, okay, I know at my higher self that there's a connection here between these two parts of me, but there is a gap between my working life and what I really want to be doing. And I'm not sure how to bridge that. I'm not sure how to bring that together, how to integrate those two things, how to feel confident to step forward and to show myself and to start being visible. And there is always that transition period. And I encourage people to do that transition period because, having been an entrepreneur now for 4 years, it takes about 3 or 4 years before you understand enough about what it is that you have to give. You experimented enough, you tried different things, and you now have a structure that you can put in place to consistently um, invite in abundance into your life enough to support yourself. So it's very important that you do take that transition seriously. Now, some people, if they have a good portion of savings in the bank, they've just like quit it all and they went full force in. So I'm not telling you don't do that. I mean, this is your path. So you need to decide what's going to be right for you. But for me, it was better to gradually do that. And just know there will be sort of this uncomfortableness when you're in that dual role, and you start to slowly reveal yourself a little bit more and a little bit more. I mean, I really didn't feel like I could go to work in a commercial landscaping company and say, yeah, I'm doing intuitive readings at the holistic fair on the weekends. People are like, get a little side eye going there, right? But eventually the momentum sort of took over and I decided to go off and do my coaching certification and get those foundational classes. And this is when I really began to transform. So I kind of was in that cocoon state. I was doing a little bit and I was pushing against that cocoon and that membrane. And then I hatched out and I'm like, okay, it's really time to make this happen. And I know that it's a process. I know it's going to take time. And I accept that. I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow and I'm going to take every single experience that I have and contemplate that and learn from that. And I'm going to seek out mentors and I'm going to seek out people who are a little farther along the path than I am. And I'm going to study and I'm going to prepare myself and I'm going to get ready. Because the next energy that comes out is the Puma, the totemic Puma, right? This is power awakening. I mean, just look at this card. It's freaking incredible. And this is that moment where you decide to go all in, right? Where you decide, this is it. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to be a healer. I'm going to be an astrology reader. I am going to do somatic body movement. I'm going to be a massage therapist. I'm going to be whatever practitioner, whatever it is that's calling to you. And you begin to just blossom and you open and you realize this is what I'm meant for. There are people who are seeking me out for this particular wisdom and experience, and the cocoon, the butterfly just becomes full open, right? And the puma um, takes its time and it walks and it walks, but when it sees what it wants, it pounces. It's like it's the cat energy, right? And it's just looking straight in the camera. There's no looking to the side. There's no pretending like I don't do this. This is the moment when I decided, I got up in the morning and I received an intuitive download. Today is the day that you write your letter of resignation and you give that to your supervisor and you say, thank you, in 2 weeks, I'm going full force. And this can also, it feels really energizing. You're like, yes, very powerful. It also feels a little bit scary. It's like, okay, I don't know what the hell I just did, and I'm not even sure I can make this all work. But the number 3 energy is definitely about change. It's about transformation. It's about moving forward and really owning your power and who you are, and knowing that you will recognize the particular synchronicities and resources and people that show up in your life at exactly the right time. And I wanted to share this card with you, which is very interesting. It's that, whenever we make a switch into another career, one thing I always give advice at, and I've mentored interns and adults and children and so many other people, is that every single thing in our life has prepared us to be where we are right here, right now. So you think, okay, well, I've been an accountant my whole life, and now I'm going to do this healing work. Like, how in the world do I make that transition? There are universal skills that we learn no matter what experience we're doing. And those are things like how to communicate with others, how to work through conflicts, how to, let's see, so some universal career skills would be how to read a financial statement, how to work with colleagues on a joint project. There's lots and lots of skills, how to do professional, professional level writing emails, writing a blog post, whatever that is, doing some public speaking. Like, these are things that if you look back in your life at any time, whether you were in a theatrical presentation in high school and that taught you how to get up and speak in front of other people. That was something that I did that was really out of my comfort zone as an introvert. Or it's that you have been working with all of these clients and you've had a book of clients as an accountant. And so now it's like, okay, well, I understand how to do how to work with a book of clients, how to do follow-up, how to set appointments, how to work with them as a healer. Basically, the things that you need to learn are your new industry specific skills. So you're learning the healing techniques and you're learning how to set up a studio or how to do this work online. Particularly now, we're doing a lot of this work online. And you bring all of these other things and they're all interrelated, right? And as an accountant, hey, guess what? You have an edge. You understand how to do all the business financials. So congratulations, because there's so many spiritual and holistic practitioners who are like, I don't even understand all the financial piece. But maybe you do. Maybe you do a personal budget for yourself, right? And you already understand how to do this. And so we have this uncertainty in the beginning, that imposter syndrome, where we think that we're just starting from scratch and there's like nothing. And is everyone going to see through me? And are they going to see that I just started this whole thing? Okay, so first of all, it's important to be open with potential clients. Like, I'm new, I'm starting off. So maybe I'm doing beta testing, where I invite certain people in and they help me test and they give me some feedback. And you're very open about that. You're like, this is what I'm doing. Or are you doing reduced cost sessions, so that you can gain experience and you ask someone to give you a testimonial. It's okay to be a beginner. We're all a beginner. We all reinvent ourselves. I think I've had 5 different careers now, so it's perfectly fine to be a beginner, but also recognize the level of expertise that you bring from every other thing that you've ever done. So go back and make a list of all of those skills that you bring to the table. Everything that you know how to do well will actually benefit you in this new business sense. Now, let's get to this idea of if I start to do this for money, and money brings in this is a whole nother video, and it brings in all these levels of things, where we like owe people and am I worthy enough and all this stuff. Or does it start to ruin the passion that I have for it? And what I can say is that I worried about those things, and I think almost everyone worries about those things, especially if you're empathic and intuitive and conscientious. You really want to come through with your own authenticity. You really want to be genuine. You don't want to take advantage of anyone. You want to do business in a way that is of high integrity. And don't worry, you are going to do that. I guarantee that you're going to do that, because you're going to be listening to yourself. You're going to be listening when certain opportunities show up and you're like, no, that just doesn't feel right for me. And that's a good thing. And we need to honor each other when we feel what is right and what is not right. So as you make this transition from doing this as a hobby, doing this as a volunteer, doing this from the goodness of your heart, into actually making this the career, a centerpiece of the work that you do in this world, I wanted to bring forward this elk energy, right? This elk energy. So this elk is like fully present, fully formed, right? There's like so much activation here at the third eye, listening to that intuitive knowing, all of this beautiful sacred geometry surrounding him or her. Mostly, an elk would be a him, the masculine energy, because of the horns and the antlers. And you can see the antlers are like fully formed, right? So we may feel like a newbie. We feel like we're just at the very beginning of this journey, but there's a piece of us that has this level of wisdom, this level of activation. And there is some good energy coming out here at the throat. And the 3 and the 1 obviously comes into a 4, which is the stability. So we saw the stability here, right? The stability. And this 404 comes into an 8, which is the reciprocal cycle of giving and receiving. So this is excellent, excellent energy for you as you step off into this new place, is to embody this masculine, right? This masculine energy where you know who you are, you know what you stand for. And yes, absolutely, you can take what you are passionate about, what seems to just be gaining momentum for you, and you can move it into something that becomes the centerpiece of your life. So I wanted to read this interpretation for you because I think it's really, really important. Elk wisdom will at some stage bring us into a testing period during which we will feel challenged. We may question or be questioned as to whether we are being realistic or if we should just adopt the same lower frequency approach as most others seem to do. In your heart, however, you know that the moment you do this, you lose yourself. As we pass through this initiation of elk wisdom, we will get to a place where, without any loss of passion for the outcome we desire, we realize that if we are willing to sell our soul to obtain results, then we have lost, not won. At this level of internal spiritual integrity, the divine can rely upon you to be a faithful helper in this world for a loving higher purpose. You are trustworthy, a true devotee to wisdom. And so the appearance of elk foretells a successful and visible soul mission for you in this lifetime. And there's one other section that I thought was really great. You can bring about a new understanding that one's standard of living is about more than personal ownership of possessions. Rather, it is about the inner state of our being and how we choose to live the life we have been given. Your influence is not about encouraging others to make the same choices you have made for yourself. but learning to honor their own integrity to make their own wise decisions. In this way, you become a spiritual protector and guardian of those in your communities, helping each individual to grow according to their own soul journey. So, this is where that hesitation comes in when you think, oh, I don't have all the wisdom to give the right advice. And what if people rely on me? And what if people think, oh, they didn't tell me the right thing or they didn't do the right thing? Your job is not to do that. Your job is to walk your own path in integrity and encourage other people and strengthen and empower and uplift other people to walk their own journey in integrity. We're not here to be a guru. You know, there's been a lot of that in religious and spiritual communities for years. And that time is done, right? We're not here to be the guru. We are here to hold this space, to stand in our own majestic power, right? This is divine might foretold. You have divine might. You are eternal spark of divine source energy, right? And you are helping other people to access that as well in the way that you're serving and giving. So it's not about needing to have all the answers. And you will begin to understand that whatever wants to flow through you will flow through at the right time. As a matter of fact, before I go into client sessions, group programs, whatever it is I'm leading, I clear myself as this open vessel to allow all of that, those light codes, all of that beautiful wisdom to flow in as a vessel. And I stand in my power and I hold my energy out and I say to myself, I believe that whatever wants to flow through is what will flow through, and that message will be received by whoever needs to be receiving it today. And this is a part of understanding that everything you've ever done and been through has prepared you to be here right now. And it is all intertwined. Your path, the people who you will serve will show up because they have something in common, and you understand where they've been and you understand where they want to go, but you're not trying to dictate what that looks like for them. You are empowering them to create their own journey, to become their own elk. Right? This is what we're all doing here, is learning how to step into our divine might and our power. So I hope this was really helpful for you as you begin to think to yourself, I think this is really what I want to do. I think I don't want to do work anymore. I think I want to do my soul mission. I think I just want to have a life of purpose and meaning that is deeper than what I'm currently experiencing. And welcome and congratulations. I'm so excited for you on this journey. And if there's any way that I can help to nurture and support that, please reach out to me. You can find information about what I do down in the description box. I am the co-founder of 1millionempaths.com, which is an online sanctuary for empaths and light workers and conscious leaders who have huge hearts and want to make a difference in our world. It's a place to be nurtured and uplifted, a very high vibrational space to learn how to master your gifts and really step into your power and your leadership, whatever that looks like for you. I invite you to come in and join us. And I also do private coaching and mentoring as well. So I'd love to connect with you. Please comment below and tell me, how are you doing as you move from this, okay, I thought this was a hobby and now it's becoming what I really want to be stepping into. What is that experience for you? How's it going? And how are you becoming this Puma, right? Power awakening. It's a time to pounce, my friends. If it is, you already know what to do. You have everything you need. I thank you so much for joining me, and I honor you. Namaste.